All right, y'all. Today we're gonna look at this boudoir photography business, see if they have BSS with their local or their city Google search here in Vacaville, California. And we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, aka full spectrum intent capture. If you want more info on that, yeah, somewhere, pin post, pin video on the profile. And it's our North Star because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. Those that are rising, they're probably bringing in peeps from the entire intent ladder, the intent spectrum, high intent here on the left to low intent way over on the right. Here we talk about the highest intent peeps, Google search, social media search, searching right now for boudoir photo shoot in our city. That's where we talk about BSS. All the way at the other end, those are interruption ads like Facebook, Instagram. It's our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And right now over there, we're only working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month on Boudoir Facebook ads. So we're focusing on the two intent extremes right now. So here we're talking about BSS, which is Boudoir Search Sameness. As when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. 0 slots means if we're not on page 1, we basically don't exist. We're on page 2 or deeper. And we already know that approximately 80% of Google searches never go past page 1. So that's the bulk of the market, that's most of the market. And if they have zeros, basically if we're in 0 slots on page 1, we're basically invisible and we're going downhill pretty fast. 1 slot on page 1, Google is not good enough either, because every other boudoir photographer on there is also going to have most likely 1 slot. So, if there's 10 organic slots per Google, search page, the a buyer is just going to be clicking on everyone's website, contacting everyone, price shopping us against literally everyone, and as a result, we're actually going to, we're actually going to not stand out, be price shopped. People probably go to the lowest bid, all things like that. So boudoir search sameness, no bueno. We also know that 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Yeah, it's not normal to have such few number of slots for ourselves on page 1 of Google. Extremely common, but not normal. This is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. There's 2 deeper root causes. One, basically everyone knows about, market saturation, and another one, basically nobody knows about, the false belief of page 1 equality. So first, market saturation, that's someone getting a new iPhone, then they're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir. Now they got a website saying they shoot boudoir, saturating the market. Or someone gets a new camera. Now they're posting in the mom groups saying that for boudoir photo shoots. So it's more sellers to the same number of buyers, driving down the price for everyone. And usually this results in other boudoir photographers kind of getting kicked out of the market, going bankrupt, closing down shop. Now, basically everyone knows that. And also a big thing that happened with that was COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs still to earn money, became boudoir photographers because everyone's got a great camera on their phone, on their cell phone. And so that was another, supply shock, seller shock, way more sellers to the same number of buyers. It was when COVID happened. Now the not currently very known false belief of page 1 equality. That belief is that kind of every boudoir photographer gets, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And, maybe we had our website ranked on page 1 of Google, but then more boudoir photographers came in, kicked us down to page 2, and like, oh, that's simply that's simply how it is. Kind of just we simply gotta take what Google gives us. Hopefully that other person closes down and deletes their website so Google can maybe pull us back onto page 1, but it's kind of out of our hands. That's the belief of page 1 equality, whereas every boudoir photographer gets, either 0 or 1 slots on page 1, and that's simply how it is. But that's a false belief. I know that's a false belief because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on Google page 1 search to 9 out of 10 slots Google page 1 search in 10 days. Why? Because I knew page 1 equality is a false belief. And my hypothesis was Google would give me as many slots as I want, page 1 slots, as I wanted to put in the effort to acquire for whichever keywords I want to put in the effort to acquire them from. So that's exactly what I did, which we'll see those results in, whatever, 2 or 3 more pictures. So page 1 equality, false belief. We also know that boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, so having either 0, 1 slots, page 1 of Google, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Because look, if you got 0 slots on page 1, we already know approximately 80% of Google searches do not go past page 1. So we're invisible to 80% of the marketplace. So yeah, we're definitely disappearing. For 1 slot on page 1, we're looking the same as everyone else. We're price shopped to death. We're disappearing as well. And this is kind of the canary in the coal mine, where BSS causes disappearing boudoir photographers, and basically all disappearing boudoir photographers also have BSS, what kind of is foreshadowing for the eventual disappearance of the entire boudoir photography business. So it's the canary in the coal mine. So we got to solve first. We got to stop the bleeding here. And luckily, we have a solution. Because we now have learned through extensive testing that BSS is treated with social search saturation. This is our S-cubed methodology. We invented it. You cannot get this solution from anybody else. And social search saturation is exactly what it says. We saturate social search with the highest intent search terms to show up there and kick everyone else out. These are kind of like, the smaller rivers that feed into the Amazon. And kind of when we do that successfully, that flows down into the Amazon, flows onto Google. And many times Google will start giving us more and more page 1 slots for those more and more keywords we're ranking for in social search. So it's called social search saturation S-cubed methodology. We want to be saturating social search at all times, because if we're not, someone else in our city probably is. If nobody is, then we got the first mover advantage to do it. So S-cubed methodology. The other magical thing about this is the only thing I've ever seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully fight against market saturation and essentially render it, null and void. Because imagine we're in Miami, Florida. Let's say there's a million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got a website for their boudoir photography business. They're ranking it. They're competing for page 1 Google search. But let's say we take S-cubed methodology to the max. We rank for the first, 300 slots for the highest intent search terms for boudoir in our city across all the major social media platforms. So we saturate social search. We're there. Can't find anyone until slot 301 and after. As a result, we're saturating the first 300 slots on Google as well. Well, each page on Google is 10 organic slots, and so that's 30 pages. You gotta go page. Basically, any buyer's gotta go page 31 to find any of our 999,999 competitors, because we cranked S-cubed methodology up to the maximum. So, whose business is growing? Ours. Whose business is growing the fastest in the city? Ours, because buyers can essentially really only find us, because we're everywhere they look. Basically, we're gonna kick out, box out all the other competitors, and we already know, approximately 80% of Google searches never go past page 1. So they definitely ain't going to page 31. So this is what S-cubed methodology enables us to do for all those who want to put in the effort to achieve it. Now, once you're with S-cubed methodology, we have page 1 visibility. We're finally visible on page 1, even though if we had 1 slot there, we're not actually visible there because we look the same as everyone else. We get an added bonus of this where we're kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. They get kicked out to page 2 or deeper. And again, we know approximately 80% of boudoir photographers, or approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They're page 1 only searches, which means page 2 and deeper is invisible, disappearing boudoir photographer, canary in the coal mine. Eventually, the boudoir photography business will disappear. So we achieve page 1 visibility once we overcome market saturation and page 1. We crash through the false belief of page 1 equality. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So here we want to hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1 for local search and city search. Because when we're at 3 out of 10 slots, I mean, we've kicked off at least 2 to 3 other competitors from page 1. Also, compared to everyone that has 1 slot on page 1, we got 3. People are going to say, wow, why is Google recommending this person so much? They're going to auto trust us more. And the very rare chance someone else has 2 slots on page 1, well, we're at 3, and so we're always beating them. So it activates boudoir search visibility for us. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. This is our micro universe here. We got disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and page 1 equality. We now have a solution now, S-cubed methodology. And as a result, we achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Now onto my results I got using this. So I was using this, I want to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. And I use SQ methodology. That's exactly what I did. And what I actually did was here, organic, we started spot one, we got organic slot one, we got organic two, we got organic. So slot three, me, slot four, me, slot five, me, slot six, me, slot seven, me, slot eight, me, and slot 10 is me. So I'm from 0 out of 10 slots on page one to 9 out of 10 slots on page one in 10 days. And this is through utilizing SQ methodology that we invented that cannot get us from anyone else. We invented it, we created it. And so this is the power of SQ methodology. So now main event here, we're going to look at this boudoir photographer of Vacaville, California. I might have to copy this, bring it over if I don't have the tab up. So we're going to see if this boudoir photography business has BSS for their local and city search. Actually, their local and city search is actually the same in this case. All right. There's a Vacaville. All right, so going down to the organic. Nope. 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 There we go. We got one. And let's see. Nope. 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 All right, so we got 1 out of 10. So, in Vacaville, where is this place? Stockton. Okay, yeah, it looks like it's between San Fran and Sacramento. All right, so we got 1 out of 10 slots for Vacaville, California. So yes, we do have BSS, or this boudoir photography business does have BSS, boudoir search sameness, and we have not met the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page one slots on Google, and that's recommended because for 3 out of 10 local and 3 out of 10, 3 out of 10 local search, 3 out of 10 city search, page one, we can basically guarantee we're not disappearing. We're either treading water or we're growing, most likely growing. That's why we want to hit 3 out of 10. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer and you've done your local search, your city search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in your city or in your area, and you've had BSS for one of them or both of them, or you did not reach the GBC recommended minimum of at least one of them, of 3 out of 10 slots, page one on Google. And you're seeing the false belief of page one equality is exactly that, a false belief. So you're seeing, hey, we can actually take as many page one slots on Google as we want. And it doesn't require Google ads, which at max, so Google PPC will give one slot on page one. And you stop paying for that, the momentum dies. But with this SQ methodology, there is some persistent momentum using this strategy. It's not infinite, but there's definitely way more momentum than running ads where the momentum dies instantly. So you're seeing SQ methodology is the way forward, the solution you've actually been looking for, but you didn't know existed. You're liking the initial benefits, more slots page one on Google, organic, some momentum there. You actually like even better kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one on Google, making them be disappearing boudoir photographers. So maybe they simply leave the market and stop competing against you, and you stop getting price shopped against them. Lowering the number of peeps we're price shopped against. You understand how market saturation works. Yeah, new gear, new peeps coming in, kind of natural, trickle in. But you're also looking ahead and you're seeing, man, AI is going to be is already taking people's jobs. It's going to be taking more and more people's jobs, which is actually going to flood the market way more than people getting new gear. It's going to flood the market with peeps. Actually, people need to earn money. So they lose their job, but they still got to earn money. Way more boudoir photographers coming from AI taking peeps' jobs. And as a result, you're like, all right, you like those two first initial benefits, but now you need kind of a a short-term or short in the future benefit. And as a result, you're looking for, you're realizing you need to kind of fortify all your slots on page one. Actually have so many overflowing links that Google wants to have on page one, but you're already taking up so many slots on page one, Google literally cannot place them there. Like so many backup links, kind of like fortifying the levees down in Nolens, Louisiana, because that city's below sea level. And literally prevent current boudoir photographers from ever ranking on page one, and also hopefully preventing any future boudoir photographers that come from AI taking their jobs from ever ranking page one on Google. Keep them on page two or deeper, relegate them to perpetually disappearing boudoir photographer status, perpetually invisible to approximately 80% of buyers. So you're liking all those benefits, and you want to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility, because you need to achieve these things on your path to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you're also thinking more ahead of AI stuff, and you're understanding that SQ methodology is actually creating kind of these invisible thematic keyword columns connected to your brand, kind of out of cyberspace, kind of invisible out there, like columns of the Parthenon, or, hub and spoke model of a bike tire, or your business, your brand, your website name. That's all kind of the hub where all the spokes meet, all these invisible thematic keyword columns, or the spokes sticking out. And this actually, you understand that this is actually building AI mindshare in the back end. And when we build this up every single day, successfully executing SQ methodology, we're actually increasing the probability that we get shown up right here, AI overview, super premium slot. We cannot even buy this with advertising. So it's organic from Google. This is probably better than any ad out there, honestly. It's kind of it's like a super stamp of approval from Google. And you're seeing kind of every time SQ methodology, we're, adding to, the invisible thematic keyword column we're focusing on, or building a new one, kind of building up this back-end AI brain space momentum. And you're liking that for the AI overview. And also you understand that this will happen for the AI search apps. So ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Every day we successfully execute SQ methodology, we're increasing the probability these AI search queries surface us. And guess what? We are, Google's still approximately 90% of global search, but dude, AI search is growing every single day, literally every single day, as people ditch standard search more and more. And last time I did a boudoir search for boudoir photographers in a city, ChatGPT, dude, it brought up literally three. But I went, Google, Facebook searching, and I manually for how many boudoir photographers are actually in its city. Dude, it was like 60. So I'm like, dude, we gotta get at least one of these three slots by any means possible. And now we've learned, okay, SQ methodology is the way to achieve that. And you're also seeing my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city. So you're seeing, man, signing on, work with me on this. You are actually excluding all your other boudoir photographer competitors from using this strategy for as long as you keep using it with me. And so you like the sound of that, you can kick off your competitors, relegate them to, disappearing boudoir photographer status on Google page 2 or deeper, essentially have a strong case to prevent any peeps that have lost their job due to AI from ever being seen on page 1 of Google. Like that aspect of building brand approximately 8x faster. So then, then kind of everyone else is done, because we're showing up on so many surfaces all at once and continuously doing it. And you actually want to be able to have super well-known brands and continue using SQ methodology as like the ultimate superpower. And on the flip side of the converse, you're seeing one of your boudoir photographer competitors signs on with me first, then we're actually getting all those benefits for them and not for you. And then page 1 on Google kicking you off. Page 2 or deeper, you're effectively becoming invisible to approximately 80% of buyers in your city that are page 1 searchers only. And, you're losing those slots, getting forgotten about. And also we're building up this AI mindshare momentum on the back end for the AI overview and recommendation for AI searches. So in order for you to compete, you'd have to A, rederive SQ methodology, or actually derive it in the first place for yourself. B, you'd have to successfully execute it equivalent to us every single day. But if you did that, you'd simply maintain the gap that we've already built ahead of you and honestly make no forward progress. So you'd actually have to outwork us 2 to 3x every single day to regain momentum on us, pull that AI mindshare towards us, towards you, away from you and your competitor. Kind of be for us to be recommended for AI search or AI overview and AI search apps. And you probably would not feel 100% confident putting in that much effort, because you would never know if you've even derived SQ methodology correctly in the first place. So then you'd be like, why even put effort into it? And also that'd probably be like 80 hours per day. So you're seeing all that and you're like, screw that. I've decided to be the first mover in the city. I've decided to hop on SQ methodology first out of all of my peeps. And so if that's you, shoot me a DM when my DM's open for new patient intake. The hospital is currently closed, but when we do open the hospital for new patient intake, Shoot us a DM and we will see if you qualify for using our S cubed methodology.